Brantley's first start as an NFL middle linebacker. But it's up to the Redskins offense, and Mark Rypien told us last night the key is for the big playmakers to start making the big plays. And he includes in that group, of course, the posse, Ricky Sanders, the struggling Gary Clark, and of course the always dependable Art Monk.
Well, the Redskins, despite their injuries, will get no sympathy from the Seattle Seahawks. They've been decimated by injuries right from the start of the year.
Well, if you can believe, 15 players have been placed on the injured reserve list for Seattle. But what they do have is the #1 pass defense in the NFL and a real superstar in number 99, Cortez Kennedy, who will start at left defensive tackle and go against Ray Brown of the Washington Redskins.
Well, the Redskins at 5-3 are still in the hunt, but they got no help today. Dallas, Philadelphia, and the Giants all winning, and winning handily. And Dallas now 8-1 atop the NFC East. Still, a 6-3 mark for Washington at the end of the day keeps them with hopes of a playoff spot. And today they're facing a 1-17, not thinking about playoffs, just trying to salvage a season and some pride, and to prove that they can win games despite having all of the players they have on injured reserve. And they're down to their number 3 quarterback in Stan. Feiner cutting it back into the middle. Close to the first down marker. Rufus Porter, the linebacker, number 97, made the hit.
You know, Beiner's a natural cutback runner, Tim, but he may not want to be cutting back over the middle today because he ran right into the middle of that Seahawk defense, and that's where number 99 Kennedy is, and David Wyman. Expect the Redskins to run right today behind Ed Simmons, going against Mike Sinclair of the Seahawks, who's making his first start, and he is a smaller defensive end at only 250 pounds.
Blackman has returned to the lineup, and Rod Stevens is in with Tua Tagovailoa on his third and less than a yard. Mickey Irvin. Stop short.
It looks like the right side of the defense of the Seahawks are going to get out and make the play here against Irvin. There's good penetration here. Wyman fills the inside hole, and then Joe Kane, who's filling in for Terry Wooden, cleans up and stops the Redskins 3 plays and out.
Bryant with the initial hit. Blackman there, and Washington will punt. Kelly Goodburn and Chris Warren waiting for it at the 10-yard line. Ball comes down at about the 13. Warren will return. And a good one out to the 29-yard line of the Seahawks, where Jason Buck meets him. A 40-yard punt, a 16-yard return. So Stan Gelbaugh, number 3 on the quarterback roster for the Seahawks, out of Maryland in his 5th year, and a much-traveled quarterback behind this offensive front, badly banged up. Ray Roberts, the number 1 draft pick, and Joe Toffelmeyer, the only 2 starters who began the season on the offensive front of Seattle. Hunter, Brill, Hitchcock, and Heller. And then it's Warren at running back with John L. Williams, an outstanding player and a good receiver. Lewis Clark for the injured Brian Blades is on injured reserve. Tommy King just back from IR. Warren forced wide, and Wilbur Marshall pulls him down at the line of scrimmage. Marshall, I guess, having an all-world year, not even in the World Football League, but he has been awesome this year. Charles Mann, Eric Williams back now after an injury. Tim Johnson and Fred Stokes make up the front. And Marshall is joined by John Brantley today for the injured Kurt Gouveia. Andre Collins on the right side, who had a big game in the losing effort last week. Mayhew and A.J. Johnson and Darrell Green's spot on the right corner. Bowles for the injured Danny Copeland today, and Brad Edwards. Chris Warren, not much out that side. Stokes holding him to a gain of about 2.
You know, the Seahawks, of course, watched and studied the film of the New York Giants and how they just ran right through the Redskin defense last week. And, of course, the strength of the Seahawks, if they have one on offense, has to be their 2 running backs, John L. Williams and Chris Warren. They need to have a big day for Seattle if they're going to have any chance of beating the defending champs.
Rob Thomas has come in on the third down play, an extra wide receiver number 86, and James Jones. Jones lines up in the slot right. They're down at 6. Jones now moves to the wing. Gelbaugh's first pass try, and he throws it upfield, just throwing it away. A flag down. Kane, the intended receiver, but it appeared Gelbaugh was just unloading there with coverage downfield and pressure on. Holding will be the call against the Seahawks.
And one of those injured Redskins we talked about before the game, Kurt Gelbaugh, was in on that defensive series there. Coming in on the nickel. This, of course, will be refused, bringing up the 4th down punt. Not a good start for either team on offense, but this is something that has happened to the Seahawks all year long. 3 plays, and Rick Tootin comes into the game for another punt.
Back to receive the dangerous Brian Mitchell, leading the conference in punt returns. Short punt, but a Seattle bounce, and it'll turn out well for the Seahawks. Still rolling inside the 10 to the 9. 58-yarder. 11:04 to go, first quarter. We're scoring. Well, the last time the Redskins scored a touchdown on offense was 11 quarters ago. Rypien to Gary Clark against the Eagles. Since then, it's been a real drought and a source of some serious concern.
The thing that really bothers you is there's only 2 touchdowns in the second half for the Redskins this year. And, of course, last year they were almost unstoppable in both halves.
Everything went well for this team. 8-0 through half of the season a year ago en route to the Super Bowl. A few injuries, a few holdouts, a few missed preseasons, and things are different. Gary Clark, and he coughed up the ball on a tremendous hit by Patrick Hunter. And it's ruled down, however. Washington will keep the ball. A 16-yard pass. Rypien was on target there.
Well, it's a good job of Rypien finding Clark, first of all. Good protection. Now the big hit comes, and that's a questionable call when the ball was knocked loose, whether the ground did it or whether it was Patrick Hunter. Now the officials are going to talk about it on the field.
Patrick Hunter, who made that hit as the injured player, down on his knees with his helmet off.
Well, he did everything. He knocked the ball loose and he recovered the ball. There's the big hit there. That should be called down. The ground cannot call a fumble, but you saw the ball was almost coming loose from Clark.
The 10:41. 10:41.
The referee is Dale Hamer, asking for an adjustment on the clock. The Redskins retain possession. An unhappy Seattle crowd, and Hunter having to limp off after the play. Brian Davis comes in to replace him. He's a former Redskin, 6-year man out of Nebraska, acquired on waivers back in 1990, and he is their nickelback. First down. Viner nowhere. Met by Michael Sinclair, who's getting the start today because of the injury to Tony Woods out with a hamstring. Bryant moving to the right defensive end, and Sinclair starting on the left.
And we talked about how we expect the Redskins to run right against Sinclair. Well, right to the backing up Sinclair will be another guy making a first start for this year is Joe Kane, number 59 there. So the strength should be for the Redskins favored to the right side, but they got absolutely nothing on that one.
Rypien. Viner. About 8 on the play. He was the release man. And David Wyman and Joe Kane combined to bring him down there. Joe Kane, a real handy guy, can play all the spots, and Wyman in the middle, the real steadying force. In fact, Tom Flores and other coaches here in Seattle say he's having his best year ever.
Wyman bring up a 3rd and short, Tim, and Wyman is playing with I'm going to show them attitude. Wasn't real happy about being on the IR list last year. Wasn't real happy about the Seahawks drafting a middle linebacker either. Having a great year so far.
Seattle with their short distance defense in there. And it's Ricky Irvin who is stuffed at the line of scrimmage. And twice now the Seahawks have stop the Redskins on 3rd and short.
And that's one thing that's missing from this Redskins offense that they've always seemed to have had in the past is a big running back to pick up the short yardage situations. Gerald Riggs did it so well for so many years. Of course, John Riggins, but now with just Biner and Irvins as their main backs, they come up short twice today here in the first quarter.
Well, and part of that, of course, having their offensive line starters out of action today. Only McKenzie and Schlereth, normally starters, in the lineup due to injury. Chris Warren awaiting the punt from Kelly Goodburn. Good kick. Warren, fair catch at the 25-yard line of the Seattle Seahawks. So we are still scoreless here in the Kingdome with 8:41 still to go in the first quarter.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Oldsmobile, the power of intelligent engineering. Magnavox, smart choices for smart people. The ingenious products from Magnavox, they're smart, very smart. And by Miller Lite, it's everything you want a beer to be.
Tim Ryan with Dan Fouts at the Kingdome in Seattle, a scoreless football game. Twice the Seahawks have stopped the Redskins on 3rd and short. Warren on 1st down for Seattle picks up 3, maybe 4. And believe it or not, Redskins fans, yet another injury to that team. Andre Collins, who played last week against the Giants, bothered by back spasms and had a good game. In warm-ups, bothered by that same injury today, did not come in and play, and that's why we saw Kurt Gelbaugh on the nickel. So Collins replaced in their base defense by a rookie out of Rice, a number 10 pick, Tony Barker. And Barker is joined in the middle, as we've already mentioned, John Brantley, a free agent in there for Gelbaugh. So only Wilbur Marshall among the regulars. 2nd down. And Gelbaugh going deep, and he overthrows Payne, who ran into traffic. A.J. Johnson on the coverage, and Payne had no chance to get to that ball.
The key, though, for the Redskins, I think, Tim, though, is they're healthy along that front line. That Stokes is healthy, Tim Johnson, Eric Williams, and Charles Mann, and if they can put pressure on Gelbaugh, we'll see a lot more incomplete passes such as that one. But they really are hurting at linebacker, though. It's unbelievable that with you got to add Monty Coleman. He's inactive today to that list of guys that are out with neck and back injuries. Rather unusual.
Jumpy Geathers comes in on their passing down situation here to add some pass rush for 97. And Gelbaugh playing hurt. Fumbled on the snap, and what a play by Gelbaugh, recovering the ball and then feeding it out to James Jones for a 1st down.
Watch the low snap from Stoppelmeyer here, and it is a heck of a play by Gelbaugh. Looked like he was just trying to get rid of the ball, but he found number 30 on the out route here. Loose coverage there, and they do pick up a 1st down on a 3rd down conversion, which coming into the game they were dead last in the NFL picking up.
Jones, the veteran, knew exactly where that marker was, and a great effort by Gelbaugh. So the Hawks with a 1st down at the 35-yard line. James Jones in motion. Chris Warren finds a little daylight, picks up close to 5 out near the 40-yard line. Brantley made the tackle.
This type of backfield action with John L. Williams and Chris Warren, we should see some play action passing off of that type of play there. Very difficult for the defense to read through not only the linemen but the extra back in the backfield. Teams that have a 2-back offense excel in play action passing because of the extra back.
Fans in the East who don't see the Seahawks too often probably remember James Jones from his days in Detroit, and they use him here as a kind of an H-back, although they don't call him that. Line him up on the wing, place him tight end and running back. Gelbaugh gets some time and has his man, and that's Jones. An 11-yard gain and a 1st down to midfield.
This offense, or is it offense? The October offense maybe of the Seahawks. Of course, the record being 0-4. That 3rd down percentage, 23% is last in the league, as are these other statistics, points and yards per game.
Averaging 6.6 points a game, and that's been a real struggle. Obviously, their two top quarterbacks, Kelly Stofford, Dan McGuire, both out with injury. Chris Warren, nowhere to run for him after a gain of a yard at most.
And in talking to the Seahawks coaches about Chris Warren, I think he's the type of running back that he needs to carry the ball 20 to 25 times. And they feel confident that if he gets that many carries, that one of those will be a long run. They haven't had a long run yet this year. But this man reminds Larry Kennan, their offensive coordinator, a little bit of a smaller Chuck Muncie, an old teammate of mine. Pretty good compliment for Chris Warren.
Yeah, he's a real quiet, soft-spoken guy, but he is physically imposing. 6'2", 225-pounder, long striding, ball at good speed. Second down and long 8. Short stop for Gelbaugh, and it's tipped and picked off. Wilber Marshall, typical of the kind of plays this guy has made all season long for Washington. Tipped the ball and then made a good diving catch on it. And that's the kind of an expression familiar all season long on the face of head coach Tom Flores.
Well, not many guys that are turning 30 or in their 10th year will have their performance curve going up. But Wilber Marshall is playing as if he should be the NFL Defensive Player of the Year.
You are watching the National Football League on CBS Sports.
Wilber Marshall continues his heroics this year on defense for the Washington Redskins. A brilliant play. First turnover of the day goes to the Redskins. First down at their own 35. Intercepted by Wilber Marshall. And this liner plows for 5.5, stopped by Wyman and Kane.
This is Marshall's second interception of the year. Watch, he'll ride the tight end out and then get back into the slant area and just make an incredible play, tipping the ball up in the air, tracking it down, and making the catch. This is why Wilber Marshall will be in Hawaii this year, where he should have been last year.
Well, that's great stuff. Second down and 5. Redskins, scoreless football game here in Seattle. Play action. And open is Monk, can't get to the ball. Good fake by Rypien. Had the man open downfield, but off the mark.
This is the little bit type of offense. They're just a little bit off, Joe Gibbs told us, in just about everything. Their pass blocking's a little bit off, but this guy has been a little bit off too many times. Mark Rypien, he had Monk there for a huge gain after a nice fake, but just missed him by a little bit.
Rypien and Gibbs both saying they really went back to basics in practice this week. Practicing coming back on short balls, coming back on curls, all of the timing, the little intricate things that make a pass offense work. Interception. Harper. There is a flag on the play, apparently after the interception. So Rypien's woes continue.
Well, because number 99, Cortez Kennedy, is going to be right in his back pocket. Ball well overthrown by Rypien. Harper makes the grab. The penalty will come after the interception. Here's the pressure by Cortez Kennedy getting around Ray Brown and forcing the errant throw. But the Seahawks defense answers the turnover with one of their own.
On Seattle, on the return, face mask, hands to the face on the part of the runner, 10 yards penalty from the end of the run. First down, Seattle.
Well, I would like to see this call, because as a runner, you have the option to stiff arm a tackler, and you can go to the face mask to prevent a tackle. Now, if Harper pulls down on this helmet or pulls up as he did, that's a good call by the officials. That's on Gary Clark.
That's a tough way to get a penalty. Look at Tom Flores. Is that on us? You could read his lips on that previous shot. The guy's really kind of just defending himself there against the tackle. That's a tough call. But nonetheless, it is the Seahawks football. That's the main thing.
You can have your hand in the face mask, but where Harper got the call is he bent Clark's head back. He did not let go of that face mask. But this is something the Seahawks need desperately from their defense, are turnovers and setting their offense up in good field position.
They are at the Washington 47-yard line with the penalty bringing the run back. And in talking to the defensive coaches and players of the Seahawks here Friday, Saturday, they were saying this is the kind of thing they needed to do early in the game. They know they've got to help their offense, and it looks like Tom Flores is still questioning the call. There it is. He's saying, hey, that's a straight arm, man. And he's saying, yeah, and he grabbed the face mask.
Yeah, Dale Hamer saying you cannot hang on to that face mask, but as a runner, you can push that face mask, but you got to let it go.
So for Dwayne Harper, the 5-year man out of South Carolina State, a big interception here in the first quarter. First down at the Washington 47-yard line. Warren sidesteps his way for a gain of 4, maybe 5 on the play. Brantley and Edwards making the tackle for the Redskins. John Brantley, 6'3", 240-pounder, a first-year man out of Georgia, played in the World Football League. Initially drafted in 1989 by the Houston Oilers, waived by them. Played 2 seasons with Birmingham in the World Football League and was in the Redskins camp and was cut and re-signed this year. And here he is suddenly starting for Gerbaugh. Heller and Mike Jones double tight end on second down. Redskins ball. Wilbur Marshall blowing in from the left side unimpeded. Gelbaugh looked like he escaped him for a second, but Marshall just stayed right with it.
Well, all great players know where the ball is. Watch, Gelbaugh will have the ball down by his hip, and Marshall's just going to swat it out of his hand, and Brantley will pick up the second turnover for the Redskin defense. Another great play by linebacker Wilbur Marshall. Fifth sack of the year for Wilbur Marshall, and a fumble caused. 2 big plays on defense for the Redskins.
Miner on first down from midfield gets to the 46-yard line, a gain of 4. Wyman and Kane, the linebackers 92 and 59, making the tackle. These Redskins have their own injury problems, maybe not as severe as the Seahawks, but nonetheless, it's upset all of the timing and synchronization that requires, that provides the opportunities for a team to play so well. Look at all of the changes. And that's the only guy that's been there all year long, Schlereth, and he's got a few bumps and bruises of his own. Down. Miner with a good second effort off the initial hit, winds up with a 3 or 4 yard gain. At the bottom of that stack, Joe Nash tripping him up. Number 72.
Hey, watching the Redskins the last couple of times they've had the ball, you wonder why they haven't gone back to that 4 wide receiver formation we saw in the very first play of the game. Especially with the injuries that the Seahawks have had, although both Blackman and Harper are back in the game.
7 defensive backs in now for the Seattle Seahawks on third down, a long 4. Dedrick Dodge and Brian Davis. Nesby Glasgow joining the regular 4. Rypien goes deep, and it's out of bounds, incomplete, intended for Ricky Sanders. Davis and Dodge had the double coverage there.
Again, the Redskins do not capitalize on a turnover. Defense has given them 2 so far this first quarter. They have absolutely nothing to show for it.
Kelly Goodburn will stand at the 41 of Washington. Chris Warren waits for it inside the 10 of Seattle. Bad punt by Goodburn. My goodness. It's fielded and brought up by Eugene Robinson, but was out of bounds. Still a very short punt, 10 yards for Goodburn.
And Gibbs and Goodburn are real lucky that this ball landed out of bounds at the 34-yard line because Eugene Robinson was heads up as that ball bounced backwards toward the punter. Watch as it comes down, a 10-yarder for Goodburn. Trying to pooch it down inside the 20, barely gets it down inside the 40.
Goodburn came in averaging 40.2 punt. So the Seahawks in good field position at their own 34-yard line. Tommy Kane on first down, a gain of 7.
Yeah, Gelbaugh and Kane and this Seahawk offense, they need this man here to get hot today. He's one of their only deep threats. Been injured a few times, but this is incredible stat 8 games into the season. Only 7 passes completed over 20 yards on the year. This is not what you might call a vertical stretch offense, although that's a trademark of a Tom Flores coach team.
Well, and that's what he had in mind with Kelly Stauffer and Dan McGuire as 2 strong-arm quarterbacks, both on injured reserve, and Brian Blades, their top receiver, also on IR. First down, Seahawks. Warren blasting up the middle to the 49-yard line of Seattle.
Now, by not converting on either of those turnovers, the Redskins have given life to this Seahawk team. And not only that, but they've given them pretty good field position.
A minute remaining first quarter. They spotted at the 48 of the Seahawks.
And when you talk about quarters, the Redskins offense is just about ready to go 12 now without scoring a touchdown on offense.
Williams, Chris Warren, the running back set. Warren, not much. Head at the line of scrimmage and driven back. Eric Williams, former Detroit Lion, back off injured reserve, replacing Bobby Wilson there. In fact, Wilson went on IR, so injuries have affected the backups of the Redskins along with the starters. But Tom Flores says, I have no sympathy for my friend Joe Gibbs. We've certainly had our share of injuries and then some. And when you're a team that doesn't have the talent of the Redskins, clearly injuries are going to affect you a lot more than they will the Super Bowl champions. Zeros are up here. The end of the first quarter at the Kingdome in Seattle. And we have a scoreless football game. The jewel of the great Northwest on Puget Sound, city of Seattle. And we're at the Kingdome. Indoor football today. The Seahawks and the Redskins scoreless opening the second quarter. Tim Ryan with Dan Fouts. And it is Seattle ball. 2nd down and 8. Right at the midfield stripe. Gelbaugh and a good diving catch by Rob Thomas, number 86, for a first down. Well, for an NFL update, let's go to New York and Greg Gumbel.
All right, Tim, earlier this year, Lawrence Taylor of the New York Giants announced this was his last season. This may have been his last play against the Packers. He suffered a ruptured right Achilles tendon. He will undergo surgery on Tuesday. He is out for the year, and we may never see him on a playing field again, Tim.
Wow, that's a terrible way for Lawrence Taylor to end his career if that turns out to be the case.
It'd be very difficult for him to come back from that injury at his age of 33 years old.
First down here at the 41-yard line. Warren has some running room and picks up close to 9 on the play. Brad Edwards, the safety, making the tackle. Now remember, the Redskins without Kurt Gouveia and Andre Collins in their linebacking core. Gouveia has been on the field a couple of times in the nickel because he's had to have been.
Good blocking here by Brills, number 64, and the center Toppelmeyer as they double team Eric Williams 5 yards off the ball, and it's up for Brad Davis to come up and make the tackle after about a 7-yard gain.
Johnny Coleman inactive today with a neck injury. Collins was supposed to play the nickel, staying on the field, and Collins has been hurt. Warren trying to get to that first down marker. He'll be close.
When you don't play a team but every 3 years in these interconference type of battles, you're not used to personnel. Chris Warren was at Ferrum College 3 years ago, so the Redskins have no idea, except from watching him on tape, and perhaps talking to other teams in the AFC about this young man, but he is a real talent and off to a good start so far today. If they wanted to get him 20 to 25 carries, they're doing a pretty good job. He's got 10 already. Plus, he's brought back a couple of punts.
These teams have only met 5 times before, the Redskins winning 4 of the 5. And they are just short with the spot of the ball. It'll be about 5 inches required. Ball at the 31.
You know, they come out with these chains and everything, Tim, and they measure very closely. You even see sometimes the official will take out a credit card and show how close it is. And then the center will come up over the ball, and he'll adjust the ball and everything. I always wanted my center to adjust it and then call timeout and call for another remeasurement.
Hey, good move, Dan.
Yeah, he's moving the ball around there. That's the first down now.
Double tight ends in now on this 3rd and short. And Warren's got plenty. To the 25-yard line. A gain of 7. Brad Edwards made the tackle. Edwards, a busy man last week, had 18 tackles against the Giants. Came in with 72 into this game on the season.
And this is Big Ray Roberts, the #1 pick from Virginia. And they ran right behind him to pick up that first down.
Their #1 choice, and a delightful guy. He's almost a little too nice. I think they'd like to see him get a little meaner out there, but they feel he's going to be a terrific football player, starting as a rookie and getting his baptism of fire his first season. Gelbaugh, he's got a man open, and it's almost picked off by Johnson in the end zone. Well, somebody got their switches mixed up because he had 2 guys open there, Dan, and he threw it away from either receiver.
Well, the rap on Gelbaugh is he's not real accurate deep down the field. Probably has something to do with his motion. He kind of flings the ball sidearm, and the ball will sail on him, as it does here. You see it go right over the top of his receiver. But we got to remember this play by Johnson. If he makes this grab, the Seahawks, of course, here's the sling, and this ball will sail on him, and a nice little love tap in the back from Eric Williams.
Lewis Clark got the best shot at the ball, but it was nowhere near him. Warren running hard. Big hole at the right side to the 15-yard line. Brad Edwards tripped him up.
The Seahawks are already in field goal range for John Casey. And if they pick up 3 points, then we look back at that dropped interception. But now the blocking will be focused on the right side behind Bill Hitchcock. 76 working against Charles Mann. Good double team there. Help from Brills. Nice kick out block by John L. Williams on Wilbur Marshall, and that's a 9-yard gain.
Good looking play for the Seahawks. 3rd down, less than a yard. 16-yard line. Williams with a flag gets to the 10-yard line. John L. Williams. Charles Mann stopped him there.
They'd expect holding to be called, but the Seahawks are clapping, so this might be against the Redskins.
We have a 5-yard face mask. The end of the run. First down.
When you see the umpire, who's Rex Stewart today, throw the flag, you expect holding, but that's a 5-yard face mask penalty. That flag looked like a parachute coming down there.
Well, the Seahawks are knocking on the door here in a scoreless football game, early 2nd quarter. The ball spotted inside the 6, 1st and goal. James Jones moves up to the wing right. Williams is stuffed at the line of scrimmage. Tim Johnson, number 78. Be a loss of maybe a half yard.
That's really the key to any good defensive play, is penetration by the front 4. And that time Johnson was deep in the backfield. You see Gelbaugh looking at the plays on his wrist, signaled into him by Larry Kennan, the offensive coordinator.
Kennan was his coach with London of the World Football League. So they know each other quite well, and this offense is similar to what he played at London. So it's one reason why the Seahawks sign him to be their third-string quarterback, and here he is to start it. Pressure. Gets it away. It's caught, but outside of the end zone. It'll be incomplete. John L. Williams made a great effort to haul that in, but he could not keep his feet in bounds. And it was Tony Barker, the rookie linebacker, blitzing from the far right.
Heck of a catch by John L. Williams, but clearly out of the end zone. But you got to love this effort. Total sellout. Great catch, but only 1 foot inbounds. A nice call by the official right on the spot there. Lewis Richard, the back judge.
Biggest play of the first half for both teams. Scoreless. Third down and goal from the 6. John L. Williams and the Redskins stop him after a gain of about 2. Middle of that Redskin line, jumping Geathers, making the initial hit, number 97. And so the Seahawks will have to settle for the field goal. John Casey, 6 of 8 in that department with a long of only 35. They have not had too many scoring opportunities.
Fourth and goal from the 4, John Casey. And attempts a field goal out number 14, Rick Tooten. 22 yards.
He'll spot it at the 12-yard line. It'll be a 22-yard attempt. Hunter, Rick Tooten is the holder. And the left footer missed it. My goodness, a 22-yarder indoors in his own stadium. That is a huge miss for John Casey.
This game summary is sponsored by Keystone.
Well, it's been an exercise in futility for both teams so far. The Skins going now 12 straight scoreless quarters. Rypien today 3 of 6, already has an interception. Seahawks outgaining him, Dan, but then they missed the easy field goal from 22 yards out.
Well, Wilbur Marshall's living up to his billing with 2 key plays on defense, but the offense has not paid him off for him.
4 wide receivers. They opened the game with this. Intended, it appeared, for Art Monk. And again, another miscue on the offensive play of the Washington Redskins.
Whenever you see a quarterback double clutch, very rarely will he complete the pass because there's something in his mind he doesn't like there. He's not sure when he sees, looks into the secondary. Watch Rypien waiting for Monk to clear in the secondary, and he'll double clutch. There it is, 1, and now the overthrow, and it's way overthrown.
2nd and 10, Redskins. Stay with a 4 wide, Monk in motion. Rypien finds Gary Clark, and it's incomplete. He could not stay in bounds and hold on to that football.
But that's another symptom of a struggling quarterback, is running out of the pocket when there really is no pressure. You want to step up into the pocket where you have all those big guys blocking for you. That time Rypien ran out and was chased by Mike Sinclair.
So Mark Rypien continues to struggle. It's been a difficult season for the Super Bowl quarterback, armed with a huge new contract, and obviously Redskins fans are reminding him of that fact and the fact of his holdout missing the preseason. 3rd down and 10. Flag is down already as
It'll be delay a game, Tim, against the Redskins. Another sign of a struggling offense.
Kennedy was coming in there with a free shot, and fortunately for Rypien, he heard the whistle.
Play of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Now, one time you want the whistle to be blown real loud. This is the old whoa Nelly.
The clock, 9:07, 9:07.
The gentle giant held up just in time.
And you know how hard that is to do for these guys. Those sacks are very important. Kennedy has 7.5 on the year.
Third down and 15. The release man, Irvin, and he is stopped just over the line of scrimmage. Sinclair with the tackle. So again, the Seahawks defense too much for the Redskins offense, and they will punt.
This is 5 times now that the Redskins have not been able to convert on third down, and that's something they were doing pretty good this year on offense. They came in at about 42% third down conversion, but 0 for 5 so far this afternoon.
Mark Rypien played his high school football out here, went to Washington State, has a lot of friends and family at the game today, and he is not off to a good start. Goodburn will punt to Warren. Warren waiting for it at the 35 of Seattle. Warren from the 45 gets into Washington territory at the 49-yard line. And so good field position again for the Seahawks, but we're still scoreless. Well, next Sunday, the NFL on CBS will bring you the Redskins at Kansas City. Detroit will be at Pittsburgh, Philadelphia at Green Bay, Phoenix and Atlanta. The late game, the Rams at Dallas. That could be interesting. Some of you will see Chicago at Tampa Bay and New Orleans at San Francisco. Battle in the NFC West. Cortez Kennedy wearing that number 99 for his friend Jerome Brown, the Eagles player, tragically killed in an automobile accident. Gelbaugh on first down for Kane, and it's incomplete. He was well covered by A.J. Johnson. Edwards back there to help on the coverage.
We talked to Brad Edwards, and this is what he's looking at. He's looking at a triangle between the guards to the back. The back will come up for the fake, and that's the type of job he has to do, is to read to make sure that the back doesn't have the ball, and now he can drop into the secondary. Nice job of Edwards getting back and helping on the inside for A.J. Johnson.
Rob Thomas and David Daniels come in. 2 wide receivers on second down. They go to the run. Warren breaks the tackle. Yards down to the 8-yard line where A.J. Johnson forced him out. But they've been waiting for this guy to come up with a big play. There it is.
And yesterday he told us his favorite play is off tackle to the right side because he's a natural right-hander. Well, he's going to cut the left tackle play back. Missed tackle in there by Brantley. And now down the sidelines for Chris Warren. And this is what the Hawks coaches told us about. Hey, he's going to break a long one. Break a few tackles, get into the secondary.
Seahawks missed an opportunity to score with a field goal, and Gelbaugh fumbles, but goes forward inside the 10. And some pushing and shoving after the play. Stokes and Roberts. Gelbaugh lucky there. The ball came right back to him as he fumbled the exchange from center Joe Toffelmeyer. Turned it into a gain of a couple.
Real heads-up play by Gelbaugh. The ball is laying on the ground. He picked up about 4 yards with this. It's a nice bounce. Comes right up to him on one bounce, and then it's almost like a delayed play, quarterback draw.
Well, twice he has shown good presence of mind with a loose ball, completing a pass the first time. A bad snap in the shotgun. Picking up close to 4 on this one. Warren dives to the 5-yard line. It'll leave third down and 2 for a first down. Edwards and Wilbur Marshall combining on that tackle.
You see the Seahawks have been running right in the middle here and having some success, but that one play, remember, by Warren started in the middle and broke all the way out to the outside.
Warren, fine left tackle, nowhere to go there. Good play by Tim Johnson, Fred Stokes, and the linebacker Barker coming up to get in it. So the field goal unit comes on, and they get boos from the partisan Seahawk fans wanting them to go for the touchdown. They would need Nearly 2 yards for the first down. Casey will try to redeem himself. He missed a 22-yarder. And it looks like this is going to be just about the same. And this one is good. So the first points of the game go to the home team Seahawks. 5:03 to go in the first half. Tim Ryan with Dan Fouts. 5:03 to go here at the Kingdome in Seattle in the first half. Seahawks have taken the lead on a 22-yard field goal by this man, John Casey. Redskins continue to struggle on offense. Brian Mitchell got to the 15-yard line and was submarined by Dodge, who had to fight off a blocker, and then Malcolm Frank was there to help him.
What we are is we're off a little bit in pass protection, and that's all it takes is a little bit, a hand here and a bump here and a knock here on pass protection. A little bit off on routes, a little weave here or a little bobble or a drop here, and a little bit throwing it, and a little bit coaching it. So you put all that together, you got 4 things there, and it's all of us, and we're a little off, and we got to try and find a way to get back.
And the way they've done that, Tim, is to go back to basics with their pass offense. These guys got to get it done. Monk and Clark and Sanders and Rypien. So far today, they're not getting it done, but they did work extra hard on the finer points of the passing game in practice all week.
But it's not being shown to any effect out here so far as we approach the end of the first half. 4:54 to go. First down at the 21-yard line. Play action. Clark is there. First down and gets it out to the 41-yard line. Pulled down by linebacker Rufus Porter, number 97. For an NFL update, let's go to Greg Gumbel in New York.
All right, Tim, in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, Don Pooley had an 8-stroke lead going into today's final round and held on to edge Gil Morgan by 1 shot for the Amicos Intel Championship. Won $110,000, Tim.
All right, Greg, nice payday for Don Pooley. I didn't know he was in the NFL, but that's a good payday nonetheless.
He's playing on Sunday in the fall. He better be in the NFL.
Clark holds on despite a tough hit. Hunter had a good lick on him, and that's twice now he's really made Clark pay for a reception. There's no tougher wide receiver in the league than Clark, however, but you got to like that hitting from Hunter.
And he also gets help from Rufus Porter, number 97, with the finish off here. There's the drill right there by Porter, and that knocked the mouthpiece from Gary Clark.
Second down along 4 Redskins. Rypien trying to run out of the pocket is tripped up after a gain of only a yard. Good response by Cortez Kennedy.
And a real good job of Patrick Hunter not buying the little fake there by Gary Clark. The Redskins had completed 2 passes in front of Hunter to Gary Clark. That time they tried the old hitch and go on the outside, and it just wasn't there. And the pressure by Cortez and company brings up a 3rd down. But Hunter, very smart, staying deep. Not buying that little fake by Gary Clark.
3rd down and 3. You can see Seattle has had the ball much of this first half. They have a 3-0 lead. Squandered another opportunity with a missed field goal by Casey from 22. Rypien again, same situation. Good coverage downfield. Tried to take it up. Close to the first down. Bryant got him. Elowanibi injured on the play for the Redskins.
And Elowanibi is playing with a bad left ankle. Came up limping.
50-yard line. They must make the 50-yard line.
Saying the ball must reach the 50-yard line to be a first down, so this will bring up 4th down.
They cannot afford to lose that young tackle. They're just out of guys. Joe Jacoby's in uniform, but he was unable to go today because of back and neck injuries.
And the Redskins are going to go for it on 4th down, and they're 0 for 3 so far this year.
Approaching the 2-minute warning. They've got 2:02 on the clock. It looked like Seattle was trying to take a timeout, but we don't know what's happening yet. We'll wait and see. Now it looks like the Redskins are.
First charge, timeout. 40-second timeout, 40 seconds.
Why would they call a timeout there when they had the 2-minute warning come up? Perhaps it was because the play clock was down to just 1 second. Heads-up play by Mark Rypien, looking at the 25-second clock and seeing only 1 second on the clock. He was forced to call a timeout. That's kind of the way it's going for the Redskins this year. Gibbs just talking about little bits. That was a little bit, just 1 second difference there, or the Redskins could have saved a valuable timeout.
Well, right, Dan, and that's twice now that they've had enough confusion out there. The first time taking a delay of game penalty, and nearly running out of time on that one. Rypien takes the timeout. Gary Clark came off the field with shaking his head in disgust. 4th and very short. Rypien diving, and it looks like he made it. Needed to get right to the midfield stripe on 4th down and about a foot or less, and it is Washington 1st down. 1:59 remains here in the first half, and the Seattle Seahawks with a 3-0 lead here, and they now take the 2-minute warning at the Kingdome. The Redskins continue to struggle.
This is what you call hunkering down, getting down and dirty on this 4th and 1. That's a good play by Gibbs. Good play selection, just going with the quarterback sneak. Sometimes it throws off the timing of the defense, but Elowanibi had to come off the field with a sore left ankle. That means Joe Jacoby now goes to right tackle, and Ed Simmons takes Elowanibi's place at left tackle.
On 1st down, the release man is Irvins, and Irvins is stopped after a gain of only 4. Good response by David Wyman and Joe Kane, the linebackers. David Wyman, number 92. Chatting with him the other day. Interesting to find out that his former teammate, Brian the Boz Bosworth, considered having him in a movie. I'll tell you more about his desires. Rypien running, and Rypien will be close to the 1st down. Kennedy and Wyman make the tackle there. Let's see where they spot it. 120 and counting at the 40-yard line. Just short of the 1st down. 2 wide receivers. They run it, and they pick up the 1st down.
Rypien doing a nice job now of using his timeout, second one of the first half, but prior to that, getting the team and the plays called at the line of scrimmage. He's hurting. He's dragging his right arm.
Mark Rypien has the ball at the 37-yard line. 1st down Redskins. 1:02 to go. They have 1 timeout remaining. And Rypien scraped his left elbow, as you can see, on that last running play. 4 wide receiver set. Desmond Howard out there. Rypien to Biner. To the 30-yard line. Brian Davis forced him out.
Desmond Howard getting some playing time here. Opened the game, got his first NFL start at wide receiver. And now it will take a familiar place for him this year on the bench. But if they can get this guy going, when you add him to the mix of the posse, well, you talk about 4 outstanding, dangerous threats in the passing game.
Second down, a long 4. 55 seconds left. Sack. Rufus Porter.
Now here's Porter down in the jet stance there. He's going to go right by Ed Simmons here and nail Rypien in the back. This is the 10th sack so far this year on Rypien. Does a nice job of holding on to the ball, but Rufus Porter's another one of those guys a lot of people back east don't know a lot about. But this man's really talented, and you see that great speed. He's almost like a Pat Swilling, where in normal down and distance he'll be the outside linebacker, but when it comes to nickel, Tom Catlin and Tom Flores want him as a defensive end rushing the passer.
Porter was a free agent out of Southern University, and a real surprise for this team, the way he's developed into a premier pass rusher, his 3rd sack of the season. Well, next Saturday, Olympic Winterfest returns. Countdown to Lillehammer, and it debuts with Skate Canada. Top skaters including American Tanya Harding-Galuli, who just missed a medal at the 92 games, Elvis Stoico, a Canadian skater named after you-know-who, and American Scott Davis. They'll all be competing. Skate Canada, you'll see it here next Saturday at 4:30 Eastern on CBS Sports. That's where Vern Lundquist and Fouts' regular partner is, covering the skating this weekend. Rypien for Biner, and Biner knocked out at the 31-yard line. Wayne Harper forced him out.
Now this will bring on Lohmiller, Tim, for about a 43-yard field goal. Good job of Rypien completing the pass to Biner. Biner getting down out of bounds and giving his field goal kicker a reasonable shot at this one.
Lohmiller, 15 of 22 with a 53-yarder, his longest of the season. This will be from 48. And it is good. We have a tie football game. Lohmiller connecting from 48 yards away here at the Kingdome. 41 seconds still remain.
Well, we've seen both offenses struggling a little bit. The defenses have been playing well. Obviously, it's a 3-3 score. Wilbur Marshall making a couple of big plays for the Redskins, but again, Joe Gibbs and his offense struggles. That was as good a drive that coming out of their own end there to get 3 points at the close of the first half.
13 quarters now without an offensive touchdown for the Super Bowl champs. Defensively, this very good Seahawks team holding together, knowing they've got to just do it for their offense, so badly battered. Down to their number 3 quarterback, most of the offensive line out. Brian Blades, their top receiver, all on injured reserve. They may have Kelly Stauffer back here next week, but on defense, they're really picking it up. Seemed to be almost a reluctance in that last series by Rypien to get the ball downfield. It strikes me a loss of confidence really starting to show in Rypien's play. Warren gets it out to the 26-yard line, flags everywhere. Word on Mo Elowanibi.
Holding, number 82 on the return, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Ron Heller charged with holding on the kickoff return.
And Flores has to be pretty happy going in tied at 3-3 against a Redskin team that needs this victory to stay up with the other guys in the AFC East. How would you like to be a wedge buster here, taking this shot? There's Johnny Johnson. He's going to go backwards as 2 guys drill him. Johnny Thomas, rather.
On first down, Brantley gets into the backfield for the Redskins and stuffs John L. Williams. In fact, it'll be a loss of about a yard. Just finishing the thought on Elowanibi, apparently suffered a knee sprain, and he'll be checked at halftime. We don't know if he'll return. And he came into the game with an ankle injury. So the Redskins continue to find guys getting hurt.
And it appeared it was his left knee, and that's the leg with the left ankle that came into the game with very sore. And for a left tackle, that's a real important position because that's his plant foot. Now we see the ice bag on the right knee, so he's got 2 flat tires.
We are at halftime at the Kingdome. A low-scoring defensive struggle, and most notable for continued lack of offense dexterity by the Washington Redskins. The score, Washington 3, Seattle 3.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Pontiac and your nearby Pontiac dealers. We are driving excitement. Desk-Jet printers from Hewlett-Packard. Desk-Jet printers, make it happen. And by McDonald's. What you want is what you get, guaranteed at McDonald's today.
In Seattle at halftime, we have a tied football game. The Super Bowl champion Redskins knotted up with the Seahawks at 3.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Toyota and their full line of quality cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. The people at Nike who encourage you to just do it. And by Budweiser, the king of beers, who reminds you friends know when to say when.
3-3 the score, halftime at the Kingdome in Seattle. The Redskins and the Seahawks, a defensive struggle so far. Friday night, more important events at the University of Oregon. Dan Fouts, our guy, inducted into the Hall of Fame, and a former teammate had a few things to say about him. This guy, Ahmad Rashad.
He's old. He's old, and we have to be kind to older people. And he played a long time, took a lot of hits, and he's suffering from that a little bit now. Sometimes you have to why he flinches a lot too when you're around him. But other than that, he's doing fine.
Well, that's kind of up for grabs, whether he's doing fine or not.
That's another cheap shot I've had to absorb in my career.
NBC colleague Ahmad Rashad. His name was Bobby Moore when he played at the University of Oregon. That must have been a fun night for you.
Yeah, it was. The charter class for the U of O's Hall of Fame, quarterbacks such as Norm Van Brocklin, George Shaw, and Bob Berry. Nice company to be in.
Well, the Seahawks did not bring it up. They'll start from their 20-yard line here as we begin the second half. A 3-3 tie. Stan Gelbaugh, the quarterback, number 3 behind Kelly Stauffer and Dan McGuire. Much traveled Stan Gelbaugh, the Canadian League, several NFL teams, last year in Phoenix, World Football League, London Monarchs. He's had a lot of experience, although not a great deal in the NFL. John L. Williams on first down, gets about 5.
Not a lot of big numbers as far as statistics are concerned for this first half. The turnovers, both teams not taking advantage of 3 turnovers. Wilbur Marshall has had an outstanding first half. And you see another problem for the Redskins. They have not been able to control the time of possession.
Second down, a long 5. Seattle. In and out of the hands of Lewis Clark. The ball bounced right off his shoulder pads.
And number 58 right there to distract Clark was Wilbur Marshall. I'm not sure that ball ever got to Clark's hands. That seemed like it went right off the old backboard. But Marshall's nice deep drop, and he might have got his left hand on that one.
Remember, the Redskins without Kurt Gouveia has only been out there for a couple of plays, out with a neck injury. Andre Collins out with back spasms. It bothered him in the warm-ups and bothered him all last week against the Giants. And now Gouveia has come back into the game here. John Brantley had played most of the first half for him. He's played a little bit of nickel. We'll see if they leave him in a little longer now. Third down. Gelbaugh escapes and gets it to Jones, who can't hold on. And it was Gouveia putting the hit on Jones to break that up. So it'll be 4th down. Monty Coleman among the Redskins missing, also with a neck injury. He's inactive today.
And Gelbaugh told us yesterday that he's playing more for just today. He thinks he may be playing for his job. He's the starting quarterback right now. He feels that if he can win this game, come out on top against the Redskins, that he deserves to be the starting quarterback when Stauffer comes back from his shoulder injury.
Mitchell back to receive the punt. Tootin, a high punt, comes down at the 40-yard line of the Redskins' fair catch. And so good field position for Mark Rypien and company here. Their first offensive possession of the second half could be very significant. They're in a 3-3 ball game. They've been unable to put anything together. 9 of 14, just 85 yards, 1 interception. A lot of miscues and a lot of hesitancy on the part of Rypien in the first half.
But they will start with excellent field position at their own 43. So that's a plus for the Redskins.
Simmons continues at left tackle. Joe Jacoby, playing hurt, is now in at right tackle. Miner on first down, just about free. So Mo Elowanibi has been unable to return, a sprained right knee, keeping him out of action. Yet another Redskin goes down. Kennedy and Bryant made the tackle on Viner.
Real scary thing for Jacoby and Gavea to both be playing with neck injuries. You see the neck roll that Big Joe has. Doesn't quite look like it's big enough for that big neck of his.
He is huge. Second down along 5. In the middle of Viner. Viner is stopped short of the first down. It'll be close. David Wyman put the hit on him.
In talking to Eugene Robinson, free safety for the Seahawks, he says they want to play deep, and so far it's working for them. They've kept the Redskins from completing any deep passes this afternoon, but this is what we're going to see the rest of the day, because they feel that as shaky as Rypien has played this year, that if they just play it very conservative on defense, that perhaps Rypien will throw them a couple. Well, the first half he threw him 1 to Dwayne Harper.
Third down, a yard. Viner has the first down. To the 46-yard line of Seattle. Robert Blackman made the tackle.
Now this is the way it's going to be for Cortez Kennedy, number 99 in here. Watch the double team from Ray Brown and the center, Raleigh McKenzie. Good job of those 3 guys walling off the 2 inside tackles of the Seahawks and giving Rypien nice protection.
3 wide receivers to the right on first down. That's tipped, incomplete, intended for Gary Clark. Sinclair, it appeared, the man to get his hand up and bat it away.
Boy, and Ed Simmons and Rufus Porter going nose to nose after that play.
Redskins, of course, have lost Jess Bostic to injured reserve. Jim Lachey. So they've got a shuffled offensive line that's been further shuffled today. Jacoby scheduled to not play, having to come in with the injury to Elowanibi. Ray Brown is now in for Mark Schlereth at right guard. Complete to Terry Orr. Orr battles his way to the 35-yard line, and a first down, Redskins. Orr doesn't catch too many, but they'll go to him on a lot of these big situations where they're looking for that first down.
I talked to Rod Dowhower earlier in the week, and he says their best producer so far in the passing game has been number 89, Terry Orr. Plays like this one here as he breaks the tackle and picks up 5 yards and the first down. Great effort by Terry Orr.
At the 35-yard line of the Seahawks, the Redskins finally getting a sustained drive. Viner breaks a tackle away from Weimer. Weimer, gets down to the 25-yard line. David Wyman just could not hold on to him.
This has been a good drive, opening drive of the second half for the Redskins so far, and they're being very patient Rypien recognizing the deep zone drops by the Seahawks, dumping off the short pass, and that was good effort by Biner to pick up almost 10 yards on that run.
Second and less than a yard. It should be good for the first down. David Wyman, number 92, and the cornerback Harper helping out, but not before Biner got the first down, it would appear. Let's see if they're going to need a measurement or not. No, it is first down, Washington. They spotted at the 24-yard line of Seattle. Biner, the workhorse. Joe Gibbs has been so pleased with his play all season long. 542 yards rushing coming into the game. Incomplete. Intended for Ricky Sanders. The ball a little high and inside. And Patrick Hunter, who's been really banging bodies today, arrived with a hit as Sanders tried to twist and make a catch.
And we see the posse has not come up with the big plays yet today, but that ball was poorly thrown. As you said, Tim, it was high and inside. And when you have routes to the outside, such as that one was to Sanders, this ball has to be thrown down and to the outside. It's a fastball that gets away from Rypien, and that's a real difficult catch. And then poor Sanders has to pay with the big hit from Patrick Hunter.
Yeah, and Hunter, both. Rypien. Sanders makes that catch, driven out by Harper. Gain of 4. 3 deep receivers down near the end zone. Dan, it just strikes me that Rypien is not looking downfield, as though he just fears that bad things are going to happen down there.
Well, and part of that is the reading the coverage and seeing the deep zones. The Seahawks don't have the talent in their secondary to play man-to-man, especially when you go up against the posse. They realize that they're going to have to just play zone and be patient and conservative in their defensive calls.
As we look at third down today, they have a third and a long 5. Rypien trying to run for it, does not make it. Cortez Kennedy ranged out from defensive tackle and caught the quarterback. And so the Seahawks do the job. The best drive of the day by Washington is stopped at the 16-yard line.
Well, Rypien is trying to make it all happen this time on the ground. This is 6 rushes for him today, and he really takes a lick there from Dwayne Harper.
And Kennedy showing some speed of foot. Get out there and get in on that play. A 33-yard attempt by Lohmiller. And it is good. So the Redskins take the lead on 2 field goals by Lohmiller. 8:15 to go in the third at 6-3.
Cortez Kennedy and the defense of the Seahawks came into today's game as the #1 pass defense in the NFL. Well, that's kind of a misleading stat when you see that they're number 24 against the run, but so far today they have limited the Redskins to just 6 points.
It's a pretty good defensive team, and obviously they expected more from their offense when the season began. Tom Flores returning to the coaching ranks, wanting to install a vertical stretch, kind of the old Raiders look, get the ball down the field. But that's when he had Stopper and McGuire as his quarterbacks and Brian Blades as a receiver. This is Reuben Mays, the former New Orleans Saint. A flag is down on the kickoff play as he got to the 23-yard line. Mays, a graduate of Washington State, returning to the Northwest after a season out of football.
Holding, number 22 on the return, 10-yard penalty, first down, timeout.
Nesby Glasgow charged with the holding, so they back up the return, and we'll be back at the Kingdome in a moment.
This is James Jones, who got a big hit on special teams. This is a former star running back with the Detroit Lions in his 10th year, showing what it takes to stay in this league.
Yeah, we'll give you a look at that hit in a moment here. It's first down Seahawks trailing 6-3 now, and they get over the 15 to about the 16-yard line. Chris Warren.
Well, he's going to, this is James Jones, and he is going to absolutely turn the lights out on number 99, Jason Buck here. In Buck's defense, he never saw him, and that's right on the button.
Jason Buck, 265-pounder. Jones, a terrific team guy. He's just been a real asset to the Seahawks organization. A very handy guy, can do a lot of things for you. They've had him out there in this first half, playing on the wings, carrying the ball, catching passes, blocking. Warren. And Warren will be close to a first down out near the 24-yard line. And Warren approaching the 100-yard mark. His 17th carry, 99 on the day, and we're just early in the second half.
Real smooth runner with power. Ran right through the arm tackle of Fred Stokes.
He sees himself as kind of a Dickerson type, mainly because of his size and that long gliding stride. 6'2", 225-pounder. They feel he's about ready to break loose into a premier back, becoming a premier back in the NFL. They'll use him in the pass pattern. He's out there now. Gelbaugh trying to find an open target. Eludes man, goes out the right side and just throws it away over the head of John L. Williams. It'll be third down, Seattle.
Let's talk about the pressure that Fred Stokes is putting on Stan Gelbaugh. Look at the old bullseye. He's got 0 sacks, 0 knockdowns, 2 pressures, and he's been out of the picture 4 times. So the old bullseye on the quarterback, Stokes isn't getting there yet.
And they corrected the second down, 2nd and 10, Seattle. John L. Williams out to the 31. Pickup of 7.
You talk to the Seahawks and ask them who their best players are on offense, and when they have so many injuries, the Blades being out, Tommy Kane just coming back as a wide receiver, their 2 best players are John L. Williams and Chris Warren, and they have stayed healthy. And a lot of people think that, well, good players have a way of avoiding injuries, and it's very important that these 2 guys stay healthy for the Seahawks if they're going to have any chance of recovering this season in the second half.
Williams caught 11 passes against the Giants 2 weeks ago, 40 on the season coming into this game. Gelbaugh stands his ground but misfires. A flag is down. Gelbaugh off the mark intended for Williams.
And this time it will be holding against the Seahawks, and this will be refused, bringing up a 4th down punt.
Holding. Number 64, the offense. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
Derek Grills, the right guard, charged with holding. New Orleans continues to roll. Miami beating up on Indianapolis today. And all of the teams the Redskins don't need to win were winners in the NFC East today. Philadelphia, Dallas, and the Giants all rolling easily to victory. Newton's punt. Taken by Desmond Howard. The flag is down. Howard gets out to the 39-yard line. Even a short return by him is exciting. "47-yard punt by John Tootin. Rick Tootin, pardon me.
That nice short little exciting run's going to come back for that illegal block. What a luxury that Gibbs has, 2 punt returners such as Desmond Howard and Brian Mitchell.
Illegal block. Number 35 on the return. Penalized in the change of possession spot. 1st down. Timeout.
Martin Mayhew picked up the penalty for the Redskins. 5:38 to go here in the 3rd. They lead by 3. 6-3 Washington lead. They have the ball at their 14-yard line with the penalty taking back Desmond Howard's return. Howard, interesting kid to talk to. has had only a few chances here in the 4 wide receiver set, but showing a lot of patience. Not expecting that despite being the #1 pick that he should be in that lineup as a starter with the great receivers they have. There's one of them, Gary Clark, and Clark appears to have the first down. But what really fascinated me in our conversation, Dan, was that he said that he hasn't really become friends with any of the players on this team as yet, and you wonder whether either he's antisocial or the fact that he's a high-priced rookie, they're not welcoming him into the ranks.
He's had to make quite an adjustment from being a Heisman Trophy winner and capable of being elected governor of the state of Michigan to being a special teams player here with the defending champs. Pretty big adjustment to make.
Great company is in there among the receivers that won the Heisman. Irvins is stopped by Cortez Kennedy. But you had to admire his kind of patient attitude. He knows that, hey, this is a great team, a Super Bowl championship team with a posse of veteran fine receivers, and he's waiting his turn, waiting his opportunity.
And he's earning the respect of his fellow teammates with his play on special teams. Blocking and tackling, not so much returning. They knew he could return kicks, but it's been the aggressive blocking and tackling that have opened up a lot of eyes.
And 2nd and 10. Rypien really fired that one, and a good catch on the play by Art Monk. Just short of the first down, his first catch of the day.
That keeps his consecutive game receiving streak alive at 141, but still looking for his first touchdown reception of 1992.
Redskins had a good drive in their last series. Seahawks stopped them, forcing the field goal attempt, which Slow Miller converted from 33 yards out to take them 6-3 lead. Haight into the game at left tackle. They signed him just recently with their injuries to the offensive line, and he's in on 3rd and short. Play action. Rypien eludes a tackler. He's got a man open. It's Terry Orr. All the way to the 19-yard line, a 46-yarder.
This is a great job of Rypien avoiding the sack by Blackman and then finding his receiver on the run down the middle. This is the 3rd longest pass play for the Redskins this year, and it comes from Terry Orr, the H-back. Orr has the longest reception this year for the Redskins of 58, so he has been the big play receiver for the Redskins and not the posse.
Rod Stevens, reserve linebacker, the man to get him. Ernest Biner, well played out that side by Robert Blackman, the safety, holding him to about a yard or less.
And we talked about the obvious advantage that the Redskins would have running right today against Michael Sinclair and Joe Kane, a couple of first-time starters for the Seahawks. But that time, as many times earlier today, not much doing there. See Biner looking at the big scoreboard, wondering where all his blocking is coming from. Those replay boards are great for instant review.
Tony Woods and Terry Wooden out of that defensive lineup of this good Seattle defensive team on that left side. That is Middleton, number 87, the tight end. Got only a couple of yards on the short pass from Rypien. Rypien really needed that big one to Orr. As you say, he did a good job of eluding the rush and then finding the open man, getting it downfield first time today, successfully. That's interesting. You've got 3 of the most dangerous receivers in the game. Terry Orr, almost as many yards as those 3 combined.
And that's just on 2 receptions.
3rd down, a long 9. Rypien going to the end zone, and it is broken up, nearly picked off. Eugene Robinson was in better position to catch that than Gary Clark.
We saw A.J. Johnson of the Redskins drop an easy interception in the first half. Well, Eugene Robinson's not going to get a better shot at one than this one. He comes across in front of Clark and Clark just makes a great play of hitting his hands together and causing the incompletion. And Robinson, frustrated, knew he had one there.
Lohmiller will attempt a 37-yarder. He has 2 already, one from 48, one from 33. And he likes indoor football. He's got all of the Washington points. 1:04 to go in the third. It's a 9-3 game. Now these two men are having a great day today. On the left is Tom Catlin. On the right is Rusty Tillman, the defensive coordinator. He's a former linebacker for the Redskins. A look at him in those days. A great special teamer and a great special teams coach here in Seattle. And this year promoted to defensive coordinator. Continues to coach the linebackers. And very much wants to be a head coach someday. And I think a lot of people think he will be.
Interviewed for this job with Tom Flores before Tom decided that he wanted the job.
Hired himself. Yeah, he's a good man, Rusty. He played for George Allen, the great over-the-hill gang, and fun listening to him talk about those days and some of those great players. Warren did not bring out that deep kickoff from Lohmiller. Seattle will start from their 20. When we return to the Kingdome, Redskins by 6. Tim Ryan with Dan Fouts, a minute into the final quarter here, barring overtime at the 20-yard line. Seattle with a first down.
Now they're right on pace for shooting blanks. They got 3 points so far, but what they've done is they've made this game a 15-minute game, trailing by only 6 points here. They've got a shot. They just felt that being such big underdogs that they had to hang in there until the fourth quarter. 57 seconds away from the fourth quarter, and the Seahawks, although they're behind, have to feel good about their chances.
57 seconds left in the third. 4 of 14 is Gelbaugh for 37 yards. They need a big play on offense, and he throws that one up as the rush came charging in on him, led by Tim Johnson, and Gelbaugh took a shot. He's now 0 for 5 in this second half. Got up a little slowly, apparently all right. Gelbaugh, we said, much traveled. Last year was in Phoenix briefly. In the NFL, he's played in Dallas, Buffalo, Cincinnati, Kansas City, and Phoenix, Saskatchewan and Hamilton in the Canadian Football League, London in the World Football League. Came on Plan B from Phoenix to Seattle. Warren picks up maybe 6. He's over the 100-yard mark for the day.
Now in Gelbaugh's defense, that the wide receivers that the Seahawks have on the field today, there's no threat that any of them will get deep. With Blades out of the lineup, that kind of destroyed Flores' offense. It's more of a horizontal stretch offense instead of the vertical stretch. Their main receiver is John L. Williams, and he doesn't even have a reception yet today.
3rd and 5. That's a big play here for the Seahawks. Out for Kane on a flanker screen that just did not develop. The Redskins were all over that. And they will have to punt. Kurt Gouveia, playing hurt, was out there to break it up. And that is the end of the third quarter with the score. The Redskins 9, the Seahawks 3. Our coverage will continue after this message from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Tim Ryan with Dan Fouts in Seattle. A quick look at the early game scores. You see Dallas, Philadelphia, and the Giants all easy winners today. And Dan, that really puts these Redskins on the spot. They lead here. They must win to keep any realistic shot at a playoff.
A win would keep them 2 games behind the Cowboys and tied with the Eagles.
Huge punt. Tootin's punt comes down at the 26, and a beautiful open field tackle by Dedrick Dodge. '50-yard punt, and a loss of 2 on the return. Next Sunday, we have doubleheader action on the NFL on CBS. The big game early will feature these Redskins and the Kansas City Chiefs. And the late game will pit the LA Rams against the Dallas Cowboys. a meaningful game in the NFC East, and the Rams tough on everybody under Chuck Knox, the former coach here in Seattle, and of course New Orleans at San Francisco. Some of you will see that matchup. The Saints are quietly having another outstanding season in the NFC West. Play action on first down. Rypien can't find a man. Now he does. Byner, who helped him. And a first down, Redskins. A smart play by Ernest Byner. And Rypien staying with him turned it into a first down play.
Let's follow Byner here. He'll come out of the backfield and come this way. As Rypien comes, now he'll cut back into the middle. And Rypien doing a nice job of impersonating Fran Tarkenton back here with the scramble. But it was heads up by Byner. You see he stops here, finds that open hole, and picks up a big, big first down for Washington.
Well, that's a kind of feel-good play again for Rypien. The long one to Orr. That one there for a first down to the 45. Byner now runs it out to the 50 and a gain of 5.
These are the sideline photos that are taken upstairs, and this is Larry Kennan of the Seahawks going over the different alignments that they've seen. This is an innovation. It just helps players out tremendously. You see the different fronts that the Redskins are in for each formation that the Seahawks come out in.
Second and 6 at the 50-yard line for the Redskins, leading by 6. It's Byner again. Byner breaks a tackle and has another first down. Washington down to the 36-yard line, a pickup of 12. Byner up to 44 yards on the day on 11 carries.
He hurt his left arm too. He doesn't want to rub it or even bend it hardly, but you could see as he got up off the ground, he might have taken an elbow right or a helmet right to that left elbow. So you don't want to rub it out in the open. You want to get back to the huddle and then
hide a little, huh?
Yeah, you got to hide a little bit and then put the rub on it.
Never let him know you're hurt. Never let him think you're sweating. First down. Redskins on the move. Byner again. Stacked up after a gain of 2, maybe 3 with a second effort. Pushed forward as he was hit by Kennedy. Got a little assist from behind by Ray Brown.
Now the ball came loose there, but the referee is saying he was down beforehand, and you wonder if that sore left elbow had anything to do with it.
Raleigh McKenzie actually recovered it. Might have been ruled down anyway, but it is Redskin ball. Second down. A long 7. Ball spotted at just outside the 35. Good protection this time for Rypien. For Monk, batted away. Patrick Hunter is having a whale of a game on defense for the Seahawks.
The secondary talked all week about the Redskins and how they like to go deep. Well, this is just perfect defensive back play by Patrick Hunter. He's got Monk secured with the right hand and then goes up with the left hand to knock it away.
7-year man out of Nevada. Well, this is a big play defensively for Seattle here. 11:52 to go in the 4th. Third down. Man open in the flat, Byner, and he has the first down. Blackman knocked him out, but right at the marker.
Boy, Byner's really having a heck of a drive here. This has been all Ernest Byner on this drive. Bailed Rypien out earlier, and then has come up with a couple of nice runs, and then this third down conversion. He comes up now. This time he's got a little pain in his right shoulder.
Joe Gibbs has said many times he'd like to have a team full of Ernest Byners. Came over from Cleveland in a trade in 1989. His work ethic, which is a huge thing with Gibbs, that's all he talks about is work, hard work, and more work. This guy really gives you that. Pickup of 2 for Byner. Porter met him along with Jeff Bryant, number 77. Got him low. Porter got him high. They're at the 25-yard line of Seattle.
It was only a couple of weeks ago that the Redskins beat the Vikings on the strength of 5 field goals from Chip Lohmiller. You get the feeling now that Gibbs is comfortable being in Lohmiller's range, and a field goal here would give his team a 9-point lead.
Another thing that's happening, Dan, is that very good defensive team of the Seattle Seahawks spending a lot more time on the field here in the second half. Maybe wearing down. 2nd and 9. Rypien has a man again open in the flat. Terry Orr breaks a tackle, and he'll score. Touchdown. "26 yards to Terry Orr, and a fair contingent of Washington fans here applauding that effort. Tom Flores, Rusty Tillman, unhappy with that turn of events. Finally, the Redskins get a touchdown. "14 quarters without an offensive touchdown, and it is Terry Orr, the man to come up with it." Lohmiller's point after is good.
Well, this is Orr's first touchdown of the year. He's wide open in the secondary, but it's the effort that punctuates this play, diving in from about 3 yards away. Quarterback coach Rod Dowhauer told me that this guy's been the biggest producer, and he has outgained the posse by 5 yards today. Plus, he's got his team in the end zone, something that hasn't happened in a long time.
Lohmiller's kickoff taken a yard deep by Warren. And a good open field tackle on him by Desmond Howard at the 19-yard line.
Well, this is how they get the touchdown. This is Joe Kane. There are 2 tight ends here, and Orr is going to go to the outside, but Kane gets confused. He follows the tight end to the inside, Warren, and you just won't find a receiver any more wide open. But after he catches the ball at the 21-yard line, gets a nice block on the outside by Ricky Sanders, and then it's the dive in for the score.
There's Terry Orr, and of course Kane in there for the injured Terry Wooden, an outstanding linebacker, and on injured reserve this past week. On first down, the Seahawks. Gelbaugh complete to Warren. Warren gets away from the first tackler, winds up with a 4, maybe 5-yard gain. And for an NFL update on the Rams game, let's go to Greg Gumbel in New York.
All right, Tim, in Anaheim, Cleveland Gary from a yard out squiggles into the end zone for a touchdown. The Rams have a 1-point lead, 14-13 over the Cardinals. Just over 12 minutes to play in this game, Tim.
Well, thank you, Greg. You know one thing about those Cardinals, despite their record, they're like the Seahawks. They won't go away. They'll battle. That one's got a long way to go. 2nd down. Long 6. That's incomplete, intended for Kane, Tommy Kane. Not a good throw from Gelbaugh. 6 of 18, only 39 yards.
Take a look at Derek Brill's number 64 coming from the left side of the screen. Does a nice job of stunning Eric Williams in the ribs and then looking for Charles Mann.
Another key 3rd down situation for the Seahawks, this time on offense. And it's caught by Thomas. First down to the 41-yard line. Rob Thomas, the 4-year veteran, came over from Kansas City.
That was Gelbaugh's best pass of the day, Tim. He really drilled that one over the middle, and Thomas makes a lot of catches over the middle. Unusual that he was the leading receiver last year for Kansas City and found himself on the waiver wire this summer.
Thomas, who played at Oregon State, happy to be back in the Northwest. First down. Gelbaugh pumps then airs out a wobbler intended for Kane. The charge from the Redskins came from Williams and Mann. The ball just didn't seem to come off his fingers very well at all.
Now, we talked earlier about the bullseye on the quarterback. Well, this is what it's like. He gets back in time. He wants to use the pump fake here, but it's Williams that fought inside the block there and put the pressure, and that forced that dying quail. Jeff Bryant's got one of those headaches.
Second down and 10 from the 40. Warren nowhere to go. Well plugged up. Brantley came in, the middle linebacker. A free agent in there starting for Gouveia today. And now Gouveia comes in on the nickel. He's seeing quite a bit of action on the nickel, and that's because Coleman and Collins are both out of the game.
This is Derek Brills. This time he's going to get beat to the inside by the blitzing John Brantley. Tough to play when you're behind, when you have to throw the ball or have to run draw plays. That time a good call by Richie Pettibone and the Redskins with the blitz.
Third down, 11. Gelbaugh sacked. Alvoid Mays, the cornerback.
Well, this is Mays' second sack of the year. Watch as he delays just a little bit. Let some of the traffic clear out, and then he sees a huge hole, and Gelbaugh has no shot at getting rid of that one.
So the Seahawks forced to punt. 7:40 remaining in the fourth. Ryan Mitchell standing at the 25-yard line. Rick Tootin's punt comes down at the 29. Tough hit. And bodies down at the 35-yard line. Special team hitting out there has been really fierce all day long. We'll be back at the Kingdome in a moment.
3-yard punt, 7-yard return.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by the Heartbeat of America, Chevrolet, and your local Chevy dealer. AT&T, the right choice. And by Levi's Dockers. Nobody does colors like Dockers.
First and 10, Redskins.
First down at the 35-yard line for the Washington Redskins with a commanding lead. 7:21 to go in the fourth. Tim Ryan with Dan Fouts watching Mark Rypien and company, and they've gotten better in the second half moving the football. Sustained drives finally paying off in their first touchdown in 14 quarters. A flag down on this play as Ricky Irvin's got maybe a yard. Joe Nash and Robert Blackman putting the stop on him. Flag thrown in the defensive secondary. Here's referee Dale Hamer.
Holding, number 87 in the offense, 10-yard penalty, still first down.
Middleton, the tight end, charged with holding. Ball moved back to the 26-yard line. Rypien's numbers in the first half were 9 of 14, but only 85 yards. So while he, percentage-wise, was throwing the ball reasonably well, there wasn't a lot of action upfield happening. In the second half, it was 11 of 15, 147 yards, and that has resulted in their lead. Irvin stopped again.
And Rypien has got big help in this second half, not from Monk, Sanders, or Clark necessarily, but from Ernest Biner and Terry Orr. The one thing Rypien has done is he has competed. He's fought through a lot of his problems in the second half, staying alive in the pocket, moving around, finding receivers, and he's got to feel a lot better about the way things are going than they have in a long time for him.
Well, and that's what he had said he had to do. He knew that things weren't going well for him, that he simply had to fight it through. In the second half, things are starting to come together for him. Screen. Blockers in front. Irvins, good running out over the 40-yard line to the 42. He'll be short of the first down by a couple of yards. It'll leave 3rd and 2. Robinson and Harper, 41 and 29, making the tackles for Seattle.
And at the end of that play, smart play by Irvins, staying inbounds, letting that clock run. Every time you snap the ball, about 30 seconds goes off of the game clock. And right now, with a 13-point lead, that's a big concern for the Redskins, is just getting rid of this last 5.5 minutes.
They spot the ball at the 41, so it'll leave 3rd down and 4. Obviously huge here for Seattle on 3rd down. Any chance to win this ball game, they've got to stop Washington right now. And they don't. Irvins to midfield. Met there by Dedrick Dodge. But a 1st down Washington. Taking command now here as the game winds on down in the 4th. 5:04 and ticking.
You get the feeling that the Redskins are just wearing down the Seahawks. This is the Redskins' favorite play for that 3rd down conversion. It's the counter tray, pulling both Jacoby and Schlereth, and they both get excellent blocks on little tiny defensive backs. Perfect execution for Washington.
Irvins again gets about 5. Viner getting a well-earned rest. Tom Catlin getting a little frustrated here. Defensive head coach. He and Tillman share the defensive coordinating duties, but it's Tom Catlin's defense. But his guys are getting tired out there, as you said, Dan. They've been out there a long time in this half.
You see the turnaround for Mark Rypien, and maybe this will get the Redskins offense going again. Well, you have to wonder about the contribution of their famous posse. Only 7 receptions for Clark, Monk, and Sanders.
Robert Green has come into the offense for the first time for Ricky Irvins. And that is Green. His first opportunity is a good one.
You could almost change jerseys and you wouldn't know the difference between Robert Green at 5'8", 210, number 39, and Ricky Irvins, number 32, at about 5'7", 200 pounds. Both built quite similar.
Green, the rookie from William & Mary, free agent, special teamer, getting a chance. And you can see Washington really has rolled up the clock time, and that's left these guys on the field way too long. 15 minutes, 20 seconds so far of the second half. The ball's been in the hands of the Redskins. Irvin's back in now, and he gets 3 more. This is the kind of thing that happens to Seattle, Dan. As the team gets ahead on them, they start to grind it out, run it on a tired defense. And they keep the ball away from whatever offensive opportunities they have to retaliate. Cortez Kennedy and Joe Nash making that last stop. They keep trying out there to do their job, but offense has not been able to move it at all for Seattle, and that's been their problem.
And you go back to when John Casey missed a chip shot 22-yarder. How important would that have been for the Seahawks? Just to get some points. They're below their 6.6 average so far with just 3.
Cortez Kennedy burying Irvins for a loss. He plays every down, as coaches say. He does not take a rest, no matter what the score or situation.
Well, this is why he's going to be in the Pro Bowl this year. Penetration and a never-say-die attitude, and surprising speed for a man 300 pounds.
We've reached the 2-minute warning. Washington on top. Tim Ryan with Dan Fouts at the Kingdome, where Chip Lohmiller continues to be the primary part of the Washington offense. 3 field goals today, but they finally got a touchdown to Terry Orr. 26-yard strike from Mark Rypien. Good effort by Orr to get into the end zone. And as you can see in the second half, Dan, it's been all Washington, both ends of the ball. 3rd down and 12 after that good effort by Kennedy on the last play. Irvins gets about 4, close to the 31-yard line of Seattle. Mark Rypien, Dan, got to feel a little better about himself in the second half after struggling a bit early?
Yeah, absolutely. And getting bailed out, get big plays from Biner and Orr. But Rypien, we saw him run the ball 5 times today, a willingness to do whatever it took to get the job done. And he has bounced back very well.
Timeout on the field. We'll be back here in a moment at the 2-minute warning. Lohmiller attempting from 49 yards out, and he misses that one. 3 for 4 on the day. He's been a busy man in recent weeks for the Washington Redskins, but his 3 earlier field goals have helped them to their 16-3 lead. 1:48 remains. Seattle looking for some offensive miracles now. Will start from their 32-yard line. Three wide receivers, Clark, Kane, and Rob Thomas. Gelbaugh intended for Jones, James Jones, and turned him around, throwing inside. Jones could not make the catch. Tom Flores, I think, will be looking forward to getting Kelly Stoffer back in there next week. Gelbaugh's just not been able to get it done here today offensively for the Seahawks. This guy's done his job, though.
Yeah, that Seahawks defense, they fought and scraped as hard as they could, but just got worn down. You just can't keep your defense out on the field as long as they've been this afternoon.
2nd and 10. Gelbaugh gets some time up the middle. Flag down. Rob Thomas made the catch for a pickup of about 5. A flag in the backfield. Likely a hold against, yes it is, against Seattle. Well, here's a team without Andy Heck, Brian Millard, Ronnie Lee in uniform, but not able to go at right tackle. Paul Green on injured reserve, who would have been the starting tight end. 2 quarterbacks
holding
down.
Number 76 of the offense, 10-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
That's charged against Hitchcock, the right tackle. Brian Blades, of course, out of the receiving core, their primary pass receiver, the deep threat. So it's been a tough struggle for Seattle, and as you gave credit to their defense, Dan, quite properly, they've really battled, done their best, but they're a tired out group right now. John L. Williams gets back about 9. It'll still leave 3rd and 11 at the 30-yard line. Brad Edwards made the stop. Well, tonight on CBS, no hard times there. Wages are good and profits are high. 60 Minutes will tell you about Euclid, Ohio tonight. Jones over the 40. Short of the first down by about a yard. Following 60 Minutes tonight, the CBS miniseries Sinatra, Part 1, starring Philip Kasnoff, Olympia Dukakis, and Rod Steiger. All ahead tonight on CBS. Timeout on the field with 1:03 remaining. We'll be back at the Kingdome in a moment. Fourth down for the Seahawks at their own 40-yard line. 1:04 left to try and make something happen here, but this game can be chalked up as a victory for the Washington Redskins, and a key one for them, as all of the other teams in the NFC East ahead of them were winners today. Dallas, Philadelphia, the Giants, and they keep pace with the Eagles, now moving to a 6-3 mark behind Dallas's 8-1. Interception, A.J. Johnson. Johnson playing in the spot normally occupied by Darrell Green, comes up with a late interception here with 56 seconds left to go.
You talked about all the different leagues that Gelbaugh has played in, different countries even. He might need to dust off that visa. He's having a horrible afternoon. Yeah, we are number 28. But A.J. Johnson with his easy interception there. Remember, he dropped one earlier in the day. But how can you overcome 15 men on the injured reserve list? That's 1/3 of your team, and 8 of those 15 were starters,
including the first 2 quarterbacks, Stauffer and McGuire. This game presented by authority of the National Football League. The CBS telecast intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of CBS, the Washington Redskins, Seattle Seahawks, the National Football League. You better check with Dan Fouts. It's all prohibited. Today's game was produced by Michael Burks and directed by Andy J. Kindle. The NFL Today was produced by Eric Mann and directed by Duke Struck. The senior producer of the NFL on CBS is Ed Gorin. 26 seconds left as the Redskins just counted down, and it might not have been the prettiest victory that these proud Super Bowl champions have had, but they are happy to take it the way things have been going for them against a tough defensive team playing at home. And next week, the Redskins move on to Kansas City, and then they're on the road again at New Orleans before they get home to play Phoenix, and then move on to the Meadowlands against the Giants. So they are still in the playoff hunt in a very tough NFC East. Glad to escape from Seattle with a victory. 16-3 over the Seahawks. And Mark Rypien feeling a little better about himself with a good second half, getting it together, particularly with Biner and Terry Orr. Tom Flores suffers his 8th defeat against just 1 victory, but knowing full well that most of his team is on injured reserve. And so for Dan Fouts, I'm Tim Ryan saying so long from the Seattle Kingdom. We're going to go to our NFL Today postgame show with Greg and Terry after these messages.